hello everyone, and welcome. Welcome to the weekly Make the Grade and Maximum Education webinar. This is the fourth webinar, fourth of the series. And actually it's way more than the fourth because I was doing these before then, but with the recent reestablishment of the webinar, this is the fourth one. So tonight's topic is something that I've spent a lot of time with people in the last couple of weeks. If you recall, the topic 2 weeks ago was creating your plan for the second semester. I did it for a lot of high school people, at least early, maybe right after the midterms. First week of the second semester, which if you didn't do so well the first semester, and even if you did, is usually a really good time to establish new habits. And I talked about a lot of things, a lot of them from my book, Maximum Education. And the main things I touched on were managing your time, managing all the information you have to deal with, and creating a daily action to successfully put all this together. So thank you. I got a lot of really good feedback. I ended up actually picking up 2 students I've been working with, and we've been focusing a lot on the time management piece of it. So what I want to do tonight is focus in on the time management. And this isn't going to be super complicated, but this is a broad stroke idea because a lot of people's question is just, where do I start? I got a student, I got a child, whatever, myself, and I just feel overwhelmed. And I just have so much to do. I don't know really where to get off the merry-go-round and just start the whole process. So what I'm going to try to do tonight, briefly, in 10-15 minutes, and we could talk about this way longer, is give you a simple way you could set up starting tonight even where you can make this work. So in case you want to reach out to me, I got 400 ways. We can connect a phone number, an email, a couple different websites. The first website's the tutoring website. The second one is for the book. There's the Facebook community page, my own personal page, and the text information opt-in list, and on and on. So let's do this. Creating a schedule, here's the thing, like it or not, it's only going to work if you plan it and you stick to it. So I could say that 400 times. It's only going to work if you plan it and you stick to it and you're consistent. Okay? So this is just an example. This is actually something I did last week with someone. So we start out with just an empty page. So I'm breaking up the afternoon. We assume the person comes home from school at whatever, 3 o'clock, 3:15, and they have about till 8 or 8:30 to do homework. So we're breaking up the day into half-hour increments. So the first thing we're going to do now is put assignments into it. Now this makes one enormous assumption, which is they have tracked their assignments. They've got them written down, or they have them somewhere online, or whatever, and that's really a different discussion, but let's just assume that's happened. So as you can see here, English paper, math homework, break, chemistry worksheet, dinner, which is basically another break, French quiz, prep, English paper, history. And this is, like I said, this is actually something I worked on with a 10th grader late last week. It was somebody who came to me through the webinar a few weeks ago. Now, the second thing we're going to do is we're going to add notes, which is really the specifics. So what do we have to do for the English paper? Have to create the thesis and turn it into the teacher. Math homework from a book, odd problems, the break, the worksheet, chemistry worksheet online, etc. Now let's just talk about the break for a second, because a lot of parents say to me, I think my kid should come home, sit down, do homework, and not get up until they get done. And there's a lot of opinions about this. Mine is this is a marathon, not a sprint. And the goal is to get the work done with quality and with learning. And I have always found, well, I shouldn't never say always, but I have typically found that when a student is going to work under those conditions, they just rush to get it done. So it's like, oh yeah, my homework's done. Can I go do whatever now? So instead, what we're going to do is we're going to be practical. We're going to say, look, let's do what we have to do it right, do it carefully, and then move on. So in order to accomplish that, let's build some breaks in. Now, maybe at 5 o'clock there's something else they wanted to do. I don't know specifically. Dinner, obviously, that's always important. So this is something that we let the student or the student working with their parent figure out, but the whole key is doing it. And then the next one is the follow-up. So the follow-up is basically what completes the task. So English paper, they got to create a thesis and email it into the teacher or submit it online. Math homework, in this case, the student got most of it, a little shaky on the last couple, which are typically the hardest problems, and they were going to ask it up in the class the next day. Chemistry worksheet, similar to the thesis, it had to be submitted online. And French quiz, they had to study verbs. They decided to make a Quizlet, which is a common online tool if you're not familiar with it. Actually very, very handy. Basically an online flashcard sort of cloud program. English paper had to make note cards. So notice, here and here, we got two different assignments in English paper. So you can say, well, why didn't they just do them at the same time? Well, because they're kind of two separate assignments. And in this student's place, they were better off in their own work ethic separating them. So they have to make note cards, which is support material for the thesis. Their follow-up was they didn't get it done. Got to do one more. So the break, history, they have to outline the section of the book. They're going to print that out of school for whatever reason. So as I said, this is basically an exact daily action protocol for a student I worked with last Thursday. And that's how we set this up. So just to do this again, you're gonna have a blank page, and you can do this online, you can do this in a Google Doc, however you want to do it, do it in a notebook, it doesn't matter, you just need to do it. You fill in your assignments, your specifics, your follow-up. And this is not super, super complicated, but I gotta tell you, I've seen this over and over and over, and this is one of the main things I teach, well, one of the many, but important main things I teach in maximum education is having a basic time management program. It's one of the 3 tenets of maximum education. And that's it. So this is a quick takeaway. Hopefully, if somebody is having trouble with time or they're having accountability issues at home, this is a good, simple, applicable way. You can put this into place pretty easily, pretty quickly, and just jump in and do it. Yes, there are lots of variations on it. Sometimes a younger student might do this in 15-minute blocks, or an older, maybe a college student might do it in hour-long blocks. But that's not really the important part. The important part is the larger picture. The other common question I'm going to anticipate is, what if we have a lot of stuff going on? What if somebody has a big test the next day? It's going to take 2 hours. And it's going to cut into the other ones. Well, we just have to anticipate that. That's exactly why you do this, is to allow for these types of things to come up. So I'm going to move right into Q&A. Let me just check. Well, let me take a second because I think I went so fast that there aren't any questions yet, which is fine. And just as an aside, if you're new to these webinars, I try to keep these 12 to 15 minutes, 5 whatever minutes for questions and answers. Everybody's busy. You don't need to sit here for 2.5 hours on a webinar. And I'm trying to give everybody as a strong takeaway after each one. So I'd welcome to come back every week, check these out, maybe make it a habit, share them, please. I do record them, and there will be replays posted. They're already up on my website if you want more information about that. So looks like we have one question. So the question is, and thank you for the question is, I'm not even sure my child is organized enough to follow this sort of plan. What can I do? Well, I think there's a critical mass that you have to either do or not do. And nothing's built in a day. So I think you have a goal. The goal is to be able to have something like this. Maybe some people can do it immediately. Maybe some people, the target is to do it over a week, maybe build up, or 2 weeks. But I think you have an idealized situation, which would be this. This is kind of your best case. and you're going to build up to it over some reasonable amount of time. But you have to start somewhere. You cannot have chaos to create order. You have to have order to create order. So this is really what we're trying to work with here. Grade level, there's another question here. Grade level is going to be different. Fourth, third graders are going to have a much different looking timeline. They're going to have different homework assignments than a middle school student, and they're both going to be different than a high school student, and all three of them are going to be different than a college student. So, you have to use a little bit of common sense with it. A question that hasn't been asked, but I will address it, is how much autonomy should a parent give a student to work on this, and how much should they oversee it? And I think, in my view, the answer is you want to make the student responsible for what they're doing. But at the same time, the parent has to monitor this until you know that they're doing what you want. So this is another one of these phasing things. Maybe in the beginning, you're not, you're not, I don't want to use the word trust, but you don't foresee that your child can do this effectively independently. So maybe for the first week, you work together on it. Maybe the second week, you have them do it, but you check it. Maybe the third week, you let them try it independently, and you kind of work it from there. And I think you have to be realistic in that nothing works perfectly every single day. So if you have a system that works well 80% of the time, 4 out of 5 days, that's certainly better than not having anything at all. And the last thing I'll say, and we're going to wrap this up shortly, is there's a lot of variations on this. This is not anything written in stone. This is something you can use as an idea generator. So you take this and you say, okay, maybe I want to arrange this differently. Or maybe I want to add another column that has something, or what have you. So feel free to improvise. Feel free to be creative with it and make it your own. But my point is, have a plan, use the plan, and work the plan. And I think you'll find a lot of other things fall into place. Correcting this often corrects a lot of other issues. All right, so let's go into wrap up here. Next week's topic, I'm going to talk about information management, which is really the other big tenet of Max Ed, along with time. Starting in March and into April and May, I'm going to have some guest speakers. So that's always kind of fun for me. They're always on topics I think are important, and I may not have the expertise that I think my listeners need. So we'll go from there. But if you have any questions or anything you'd like to see, let me know. Email me, whatever. So I'm going to leave this up here while I close out. These are the ways that you can reach me or reach mAke grAde, and we'll go from there. So in closing, thank you for your interest. Thank you for your support. And thank you to everybody who asked questions tonight and came on the webinar. So I'm going to wrap this up. Look for the replay. Please share it. Please let people know what's going on here. And we'll go from there. So thanks again, everyone. And I will see you next week. Dr. Steven Greene, signing off.